Hello, everyone. Text and the tail end. I've been thinking lately, and the more time that goes by, um, the more kind of clear and strange it becomes. But before I go into that, let me start with the text messages. We've all probably seen the text messages by now. I've talked about them in the past. They're quite interesting. This isn't some leaked information or gotten by in nefarious ways. They were released by the estate to prove a point. I have a feeling, again, this is just an opinion on my part, what I'm about to say right here. I have a feeling when the text messages were initially released by the estate, intentionally, they wanted people to see them for some reason. I have a feeling there was one reason they were released then, and then when they explained themselves, when Chris Cornell's widow explained herself on why she posted these things, because I guess she noticed the speculation online, right? We all know they pay attention to what's going on online, that's for sure. So, where was I going? I have a feeling when the explanation came about why she released them, I have a feeling that was a made up excuse to try and agree with the sentiment that people noticed about the messages. Now, I said when they first came out, I said, they think these look good, don't they? A lot of people have used the word narcissist. There's also the word sociopath. And one of the aspects of that type of personality is you don't know how to pretend to be human. You try and do an impression of it, but you get caught often in your inhumanity. Because of your inhumanity, you do enough kind of, let's call them strange things, it gets noticed eventually. You can't hide everything. Because of your inhumanity, the drive that drives you, it ends up getting you caught because you're doing it so much. I don't know if that makes sense. Those personality types, you can't really make sense of it. We can try and explain it and we can try and put a name on it, but it's basically just inhumanity, right? It's, like I said, it's people that can't even pretend to be human, and they try, and then they get caught, and they're just utter inhumanity, and enough people, I guess, shake them from their position. They get scared that the overwhelming sentiment is against them. So then they try and turn the tide by like, yeah, that's what I meant to do. You know what I mean? It's like when you fall down in front of a crowd of people and you start doing push-ups and pretend like you didn't just fall and bust your ass. You know, that's what I'm talking about. That's a good analogy, I guess you could say. So yeah, I think they realize this. Again, it's my opinion, and it's horrifying. The text messages are horrifying. After this famous beloved rock star that millions of people adore die, you put these messages out of him looking like a jerk off, not being able to get a hold of his wife, and he's wondering what the hell she's doing. Sneaky Pete and shit like that. Really intimate stuff too, as you know, baby talk they would do to each other. You know, did that really have to come out? I didn't need to see that, and I wanted to know everything, but you know, not everything. You know what I mean? In other words, I think they put him out initially, and I said this back then, as some positive thing, as some demonstration of love or something. I don't fucking know, because I don't think they know how to pretend to be human. We've seen what they've said in legal documents, what they've done to people. We've seen it. So, again, I can't see them understanding how to even pretend. Yeah, they can do it on the morning shows after they get nose jobs and stuff like that, and pretend to cry and no tears come out and all that. They can pull it off there. But when it's really analyzed by people that don't just watch Good Morning America or whatever shows had her on, I don't even remember. When it's really analyzed, it's just strangeness after strangeness, man. Something was wrong here. Like I said way back at the Vetters, not going to the funeral, that screamed, something is wrong here. I don't know exactly what. I have my theories, but something was wrong here. Anyway, the text messages, again, scream, something's wrong. Why would you, after your husband dies and millions of people love him, you're going to post text messages of him trying to get you on the phone and he can't? He's getting pissed off. Like, that's basically what it comes down to. What the fuck are you doing, man? Again, how the legacy has been treated is just... it's sad to watch, man. Because I have big respect for this guy. More than a placard and more than... what he got. Anyway, back to the text messages again. I think they thought that was some positive reflection on the whole situation. After everything that had happened up to that point. Everything that's been said and done. And then later on, when she tries to explain it to people online, I don't know what site. I just remember reading it, and it's been read to me several times. That she posted the messages to show that relationships aren't good all the time. I'm paraphrasing, but basically that it's bad sometimes, or it's not always perfect. Yeah, that wasn't the intention when the messages were first put out. I don't believe that. I'm sorry. It's just my opinion again. I just don't believe that was the intention. Why would you put out text messages of your dead husband to show the world it wasn't perfect all the time, when you've been telling the whole world it was a fairy tale since he died? It doesn't make sense, does it? It's quite the contradiction. I thought the narrative was, it was a fairy tale with chocolates and all this bullshit. And it was just all great and wonderful. And he would never kill himself. It was all wonderful. It was all good all the time. That's the image presented straight up out the family's mouth daily on social media. Because there was speculation in the beginning that there might be problems in the marriage or something. That was called poppycock. And that can't be true. It was fairy tale. It was magic. 24/7 baby chocolates and the whole 9 yards. Then when they decide to put text messages out, because in my opinion, they think that it will reflect well on them in some way, because they don't know how to pretend to do it. Like, some people can at least pretend to be human even though they're sociopaths inside, or crazy inside. A sociopath can't pretend to be human, really, but kinda. Anyway, sometimes. But they eventually get exposed, usually. Hopefully. So yeah, so again, we're fed the fairy tale thing all over the place. And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, well, it's like, I just wanted to post these text messages because I wanted to show the world that it's not great all the time. Yeah, that was after the sentiment was seen online. I don't know how much time went by. I didn't research it. It's not necessary. That's not the point. Whether it's 2 days, a week, 2 months, 2 years, it doesn't matter to me. All that matters is the explanation that was given. And the explanation that was given was, oh yeah, I put these out because I wanted to show the world how imperfect our relationship was. After Mammy's been screaming online and to anybody that'll listen, and I mean fucking anybody, that it's a fucking fairy tale. Now it's not a fairy tale. And you want to talk about conspiracy theory? That family was pushing a head wound on people, probably for insurance purpose, because they wanted doubt thrown on the investigation, because Detroit wasn't ruling the way they wanted Detroit to rule on Chris Cornell's death. So they started spouting the head wound stuff. Now, again, people dare call me a conspiracy theorist. I was never on board with the head wound stuff, because I know a guy isn't going to perform a concert for 2 hours with a gaping head wound in the back of his head. He would have been in the hospital. And the band members would have said something, and they've never said a damn word about no head wound. They were on stage with him. I think they would have noticed while he was dancing around and playing guitar behind his head and behind his back and doing the whole Chris Cornell thing that he always does. I think they would have noticed a gaping head wound. It was kind of obvious in the beginning. The pictures were always blurry. I always said, kind of inconclusive. You really can't tell. But I know what stage lighting does, and it drowns whatever the subject of the lighting is, it drowns them in that color light. So if he's got a little bald spot or opening in his hair or whatever, that's going to get drowned and bathed in red or orangey light, whatever was going on. So I never subscribed to the head wound, but yet people dare label me a conspiracy theorist. I don't understand. But that family was literally spouting that conspiracy that he possibly could have had a head wound. I was like, damn, they're going the conspiracy theory route, huh? Something ain't right here. I knew something was wrong, but again, it was for their purposes. People brought up, no one's really critiqued the bodyguard. Everyone else was made a victim in some way, shape, or form, and I'm not going to list them all and go into it right now. Except for the bodyguard. The only thing that was ever said about him by Chris's widow was, why did he give him 2 pills? What was that? What was the purpose of that statement? Most likely, in my opinion, again, they knew they were going to have a lawsuit against the doctor and blame Ativan and do all that. That plays into their lawsuit. That's the only reason they even critiqued him that far. He has never received any other criticism from the main person in the situation, the widow, the person that was married to the guy who's dead now. Only critique I've ever heard. Now, if I'm wrong, prove me wrong, and I'll admit I'm wrong. Tell me something, give me a screenshot, whatever. You guys know my emails. Say it in the comment section, whatever. That's the only critique I've ever heard. And if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, I believe it was in a long Detroit news article expressing her displeasure with the Detroit investigation and their rulings on things, trying to cast doubt on that. Interesting. And the bodyguard, again, really no criticism, not made a victim, not sued, not blamed whatsoever. The only person. Interesting, because everyone else has been turned into a victim or a target for attack by those people. Now, here's the weird thing, and I got to be quick because I don't want this video to be too long. Again, it's just something when you reduce it all down. These 2 rock star families become friends in the last years of the rock star's life. The last relationships they have that we know of. The last, thing they had going in their life before they died. The last phase of their life, let's say. They somehow become friends and start hanging out together. There's pictures of the couples together hanging out. Bennington and Cornell. They know each other's children. There's intimate interaction. By intimate, I mean they're over each other's homes. They're part of each other's lives. Out of nowhere, who would have thought Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington become friends? Obviously, Chester looks up to Chris idolizes him probably like a lot of us did for many years when we were teenagers. Because Chris is an excellent artist in many genres. They become friends. They're hanging out. And they both die in the same year from hanging, one on the other's birthday. The one guy married an escort who didn't want to sign a prenup and who wanted to keep money from a struggling family member family because it was cutting into her shoe money. That's her character. The other one was on the phone to an insurance attorney within 5 minutes. What are the odds of this? Even in Rockstar Crazyland? What are the odds? And I'm not going where you think I'm going, you people that never seen me before. Just because they label me things, that doesn't mean that's what I am. What are the odds of this happening? These two super uber famous rich rock star guys become friends, wives become friends, but even though I don't believe Chris's widow is capable of being friends with anyone, I think Talinda is more of an innocent, dare I use that word, in comparison, more of an innocent mind, let's put it that way. There's a difference in the two people. We know the history of these people, what they've said online, ways they've acted with their husbands in public, crying without tears. We know, in my opinion, from actions, it seems a lot of what was going on behind the scenes the first year or something was about insurance policies. Flights to Detroit, instantly call insurance lawyer. Then fly to Detroit with another insurance lawyer. It seems there was a problem there. In my opinion, according to their lawyer, there's no problem at all. Right. We have the emails though, buddy. Sorry. But anyway, back to the original point so I could end this. What are the odds these two guys become friends, these two families become friends, and they're both dead by hanging? One in a home with no surveillance cameras, Chester Bennington. Does that seem normal to you? And I don't care what reason or excuse. Oh, they weren't working, they weren't installed yet, blah, blah, blah. No. That's Chester Bennington, for fuck's sake. He ain't gonna have some cameras around his home? Really? I don't know. No footage was ever released, so guess not, right? No footage of Chris and some bodyguard walking in his hotel room together either was released. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying we never saw the footage yet. There are claims by a head investigator that footage exists and he watched it. And it happened just like the bodyguard said it did. The whole event. Whatever. My point is, again, think about it. The odds of this is very crazy. These weren't two randoms. They were friends. And Chester dying on Chris's birthday, that puts it all in a neat little bow, right? Oh, he was depressed about Chris. It must be true. I'm not so sure because you really think about the odds of these two families becoming friends and both of the husbands end up dead by hanging. They're not involved in some fraudulent business or something that they're about to go down, or you know what I mean? There's no investigation like that into them, or They just both end up dead within months of each other, after being friends the last portion of their lives. And then you know the history of the wives and what they, again, one wife calling the insurance attorney 5 minutes. Minutes after was the insurance attorney's phrasing. I'm giving it 5. I'm just taking a guess. Minutes could be 2 minutes. Could be less. Who knows? And the other, again, was an escort, didn't want to sign a prenup, wanted to take money away from a family that needed it, family members, after, whatever, after an earlier time when she was there, probably all acting all sweet and nice to get their blessing, because Chester wanted to marry her and they wanted the family's blessing. To go from that again to fuck them, they're cutting into my shoe money. That's a real character statement by a person when they do things like that. And again, Chester's brother-in-law put all this out on social media because he needed to defend himself from attacks on social media. And cease and desist letters were sent. They didn't listen to them. They continued putting out this information, and they never got sued. So I guess the cease and desists were just bullshit, huh? Think about it again, the odds, people. It's just very strange. These people become friends. Few years later, they're all interwoven in each other's lives, like deeply close friends, and they both end up dead months apart by hanging. And again, I'm not going where people think I'm going with this, the people that don't know me. I think it's a lot closer to home than people realize. That's my opinion anyway. Have a good day.